Welcome to the Texas Authors Institute TV show, produced by Beyond Bourgeois for the Texas Authors Institute of History, Incorporated, copyright 2024. If you would like to become a sponsor of our show and help us produce great content, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show as a Texas author, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com for more information. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Texas Authors Institute by Happy Fellows. Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Denise Bryson.
Welcome everyone to our radio show. We're so glad to have you here on the show today. And we always ask everyone to drop everything and read. So we thank you for today. Today we have the privilege of interviewing Patricia Qaiyyim, and she is the author of Moms in the Military and Shrouded in Words. Let me get that right. Shrouded in Words is a collection of poetry. So good. How are you today, Patricia?
Doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Before I started writing professionally in 2020. Before that, I served 23 years in the United States Air Force on active duty. During those 23 years, my husband and I, he was also active duty, raised our children. After that, I spent about 10 years working as a contractor for the Air Force off and on. And then I decided to take the plunge and start my second career as a writer.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for your service too, as well.
It's my pleasure. Yes.
I'm always so grateful to our military because they do a lot for our country. So it's such a blessing. So let's dive in. Now tell us about how did your so we're going to start with Moms in the Military.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear about it.
Oh, good. Yeah. So, well, first they say, write what you know. And so that was one of the things I knew. But what really prompted this project was while I was in, I would always get questions from people like, why do you do both? How can you do both? How do you manage? How do you spend time away from your children? And then I found out that my counterparts were getting these same questions, and it just didn't stop. And so I kind of put it on the shelf for a minute, but then someone else brought it up and I was like, all right, that's it. I'm going to dive in. So I was able to do that. And it really is just showing how motherhood and military service are very compatible. Sometimes it has its challenges and there are hiccups, but it's definitely doable. And one of the reasons I felt so strongly about it was because until, 50 years ago, we couldn't even do that. So up until the mid 70s, once you became a mom, you were just unceremoniously separated from the service, sometimes without benefits. Even if you married someone and he had children, you were forced out. So it was a long time until the mid 70s when the government stepped in and said, all right, services, you've got to let women continue on this path. And so, so even when I went in the 80s, the mid 80s, late 80s, there were still people asking me those questions like, why don't you just stay home and raise your kids? Or it's not fair what you're doing. And so I just thought, it was a problem then. Today, women are still having those same questions. So I thought it would be great to kind of share with people how it is that we make it work. And so this book was not just about myself, but 20 other military moms, active duty reserve, and spouses. And we just talked about some of the things that you have to do as a military mom, whether it was the decision to serve or raising your child without that familial support, or even, the impact of separation due to military commitment. And so that was it. And the more I wrote, the more I wanted to write about it. And I hope it serves as a sense of inspiration to other military moms, but also to any mom, whether you're a working mom or a stay-at-home mom. We all have those concerns and we all have doubts. And I think these women give you insight into how to make it work. And I think the main theme out of that was you have to do what works for you and your family. But it was a fun project. I really enjoyed writing it. And so that's how we got started with Moms in the Military.
That is amazing. And you know what? It's so good because so many of those stories need to be told because people really don't even have a clue of how all of that works. And because just you telling me a while ago that sometimes you have to make a decision whether you want to stay in active duty or or go be a mom. To me, that seems unfair because if that's your career path, you ought to be able to follow it just like any other mom would be able to follow it.
Absolutely. And I think people just don't know a lot about it. Even though I served, I have two siblings, two sisters that also served and were moms. But I have other sisters who did not. And when my younger sister read the book, she said it really gave her insight into how I lived and how I did things. And even though she knew I was in the military, because she hadn't taken that path, there were things she just hadn't thought about. One of the things in particular is in the book is, when my kids are sick or I need my mom, or you just don't have that. You're by yourself, and you have to kind of make your family where you are. You kind of make your village. But she said it hadn't dawned on her how easily she could just call mom and say, hey, can the kids come over because I have to work and they're sick. And I just didn't have that opportunity. And it's not a woe is me. It's just that's how it was. But yeah, I think it's very insightful into the lives of women who are serving and raising children.
Well, that's amazing. Thank you so much for telling that story, because that is an amazing story. And I know it has helped mothers in the military. But to me, I just in my reading through what I read through, I mean, it helps all mothers, because we all have to, I mean, all mothers have to know how to navigate, because you're working and you got to be at work, and and everybody's, and then you have other kids and some of them might be sick. You have to navigate all of that. And then if you have a job that has managerial demands, then you have to, and then your husband and all these various things. So it can be quite difficult. I don't think people really realize that. And even if you're a mom that you don't work, but you're a stay-at-home mom, very difficult still.
Absolutely. Yes. I actually was on a podcast last year for it's called On Your Own Terms. And that was it. She's a professional. She's not in the military, but she read the book and she was like, this is all working moms. This is moms who stay at home. This is moms. We got to know, and it is just about, I think, when you're in that moment, you can feel so alone and you can be like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. But when you just hear about those little stories of those little things that these other women are doing, it just gives you that boost of confidence. Okay, if they did it, I can do it. So yeah, I think it's for every mom.
Thank you so much for telling that story, and I hope it helps many, many, many people. Because so your readership is broad, because first of all mothers of all cultures can really benefit from this book. So that's such a blessing to be able to give something that will help others in that way. So that's really good. So I'm just really excited about it. So I was like, wow. So I'm a recommend it to mothers I know, because I know people that are that are really going and struggling with that. And so, and was your husband in the military as well?
He was. We both served on active duty, and after he retired, he continued to serve as a civilian. So he continues to be a civilian working with the Air Force. So yes, but we both served while we were raising our children.
Wow, amazing. Thanks. That's really good. So then what else did you want the book, the project, to bring to other people? So we have the story going to the moms, but how would dads be able to benefit from it as well?
I think I really feel like sometimes, as parents, the dad's focused on what he's doing and the mom's focused on what she's doing. And sometimes, especially when your children are young or you have several children, you can kind of feel a little bit of a separation. But I think any dad reading this book, it will get insight to maybe what his wife is dealing with on a day-to-day, especially since in most homes in the United States, the wife is the primary caregiver for the children. So this would give him insight. But also, if you're a boss, if you are a supervisor or an employer and you have moms working for you, this would give you some insight. And one of the moms in the book, she said before she had children, she really didn't understand. Even though she tried to be empathetic and sympathetic with her troops, when they had to come in on the weekend or in the evenings, and they were like, "Oh, I got to get my kids settled first, or it's a Saturday, so I'm going to bring the baby in." And she was okay with that, but she really didn't understand it. She was like, in the back of her head, she's like, "You got to get it together." But she said once she became a mom, it became very obvious to her why you would have to do that. And she even talked about her first trip, taking her child with her. She was like, I don't want to be separated. I had to go TDY on temporary duty, and I took the baby with me so I could still continue to be with her. Or a mom talks about having to travel and having to express milk, So I think for even employers could get insight into this. Or if you're a child and your mom served in the military, you might get better insight onto how she did it and the decisions she made. So I think it's just a book for a lot of different readers.
Yes, it is, because that's good, because sometimes children, as they grow older, they might be upset about something and they feel like they can't resolve it. So this would be something to let them know this is what we were going through while I was raising you. Such a great book. I'm telling you, it's a great book and good for all readers, both male and female and children. You're right. It's good for all of them to know. So let's talk about, well, it's probably time for us to take our first break. So we're going to take our first break and hear something from our sponsors. We'll be back.
Embark on a literary journey beyond boundaries. Ready to revolutionize your author journey in the metaverse? Top 10 ways authors can embrace the metaverse and prepare for a metaverse bookstore is your guide to transforming authorship. Immerse in three-dimensional spaces, host virtual book launches and signings, use augmented reality for interactive book covers, collaborate with metaverse bookstores, create immersive reading experiences, and invest in virtual reality author platforms. Tokenize your creations with blockchain and NFTs, join metaverse writing communities, and stay adaptable to technological advances. Elevate your storytelling and thrive in the metaverse. Get your copy and unlock the future of authorship. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Qaiyyim, and I'm an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlotteqaiyyim.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Texas Authors Institute of History is not only a nonprofit museum for Texas authors, TAIH is also a place where authors can learn about publishing and book marketing. Check out our new magazine, the Texas Authors Magazine, available for free at texasauthors.institute today.
Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Denise Bryson.
Well, welcome back to our radio show. We thank everybody for joining us again. We have the privilege to be interviewing today author Patricia Qaiyyim, and she is the author of Moms in the Military, and also Shrouded in Words, a collection of poetry. So make sure I'm saying that right. So anyway, we're so glad to be interviewing her today. She talked about moms in the military just a few minutes ago, and I'm telling you, it was an amazing story just to hear her talk about it. So you want to be able to get this book and read it. It's good for moms, it's good for the children, it's good for the husbands, all of that, so you can get some insight on what it's all about. So thank you for joining us again. So could you tell us, we want to talk about Shrouded in Words, and so it's poetry, so I know it's amazing. I'm a poet myself.
Yes. So Shrouded in Words, it is a collection of poetry, and even when I was talking to my editor, we really consider it like a hodgepodge. It's different types of poetry, and it's about different types of things, but I really broke it down into several categories. I write about family and parenting and parents, love, faith, self-reflection. It's just a variety of poetry in different formats. And I will tell you, I'll start with the title of the book. The reason I called it Shrouded in Words is because I think we hide ourselves, or we shroud ourselves in words like, I'm okay, that didn't hurt, I'm not mad at you. And that's just not true. And I feel like if we could just remove some of those shrouds and be more open, then we're going to be better able to connect with people and better understand people and better empathize with people. And so this was really important to me. And so I thought that was a great title. And I thought, I'm going to do that first. I'm going to remove some of those shrouds. Like some of these poems I've written over the years, but originally I thought it's only going to be for my eyes only. And so I really wanted to just kind of be open and share. And I write about things like loss and love, a variety. And so I just wanted to really be able to kind of share that with my readers. And I will say the feedback's been very positive. So I've been very happy with it so far. So yes, it's
that's the one thing I like about poetry, because it's like pen therapy. It's like
Absolutely, yes.
it's like you're writing and you're releasing what's in there that needs to come out. And like you said,
Yes,
I like what you said. You said sometimes we use words to share and sometimes we use words to hide behind. And so
yes,
many times people hide behind their words instead of just sharing their true feelings. So it's really good to be able to share. And I think people when they write poetry as well, they do, it is like therapy for them. So they're
yes,
getting out the
absolutely.
things that have been frustrating them, or sometimes that they can't feel like they can't come back from behind the curtain.
Yes, and it's so funny that you say that because a lot of that writing was very therapeutic for me. One in particular, my brother and my sister-in-law divorced. They've been together for a couple of decades, and so she'd been my sister for a very long time. And so when they decided to divorce, it was very hard. Now I don't have a say in it. It's not my. But really, in talking with both of them, I could see how they felt. I could see how hard it was, and really just to help me kind of come to a place where I could better understand or feel like I was better understanding. One of the poems is in that book, and it was really the result of that. I also write about the loss of my brother. These are things that we just don't necessarily talk about. I also talked about like how I had to learn that before my mother had me, she was a woman, she was her own person. And sometimes we don't see our moms and dads as people who make mistakes or who have a life before us. And so really to be able to write about those things, really kind of like you said, it's pen therapy. I hadn't heard that before, but I'm going to keep that one. I really like it. That's exactly how it is. I mean, so it's really good to get that out. But I think, if I'm going to ask other people to, be open and connect, I thought I had to do that as well. And so that's what I
and,
wanted to do with that book.
and I also think sometimes it brings inner healing.
Yes,
That we can
absolutely.
heal from the inside out. And I think
Yes,
that's
yes.
really special. So that's why we really like poetry. So what other books or what other things are you working on?
Well, very recently, I just became a contributor to another book. There's a nonprofit organization here in San Antonio called Robin's Nest. They are a literacy group, and they are going to be publishing a book very soon. And so I was offered the opportunity to collaborate, and I contributed a chapter to that book. So I just finished that. But my right now, I'm also on my most recent or my most project that's taking up the most of my time right now is it's going to be called Raised in the Military. I think that's what the tentative title is. And I will tell you, interviewing these women, these weren't all women I knew. There was women I connected with through other sources, and other people brought them to me. But no matter what, we all kind of had that underlying theme that at some point in their career, they worried, is this the right thing for my child? When you talk about all of the sacrifices that are required. And so I wanted to find out. And so my project right now, I had an interview the other day, and I'm doing another one next week. And I'm interviewing children raised by military moms. My youngest interview is an 8, and my oldest is 30 right now. So, and it's very interesting to see. And I will tell you, I interviewed one of my children. I'm interviewing all of them, but I thought I knew my son like I knew the back of my hand, but I didn't. He really surprised me with some of his responses. So I'm doing that. I am also working on another collection of poetry that I'm going to be working on. And while originally I thought I'm just going to stick with nonfiction and poetry, I'm thinking about working my way towards writing a historical fiction. So that's really going to be my big project over the next few years, is to kind of get that out of the way, or kind of get that under my belt, so to speak.
They always say that real writers are those that have went past the first book. Because I think sometimes all people can publish one book, but then when you continue on and continue to work at it, then they continue. I think they consider us as actual authors at that time, real writers at that time. So I heard somebody say that one time, and that's why I brought that up.
And it's true. And I will tell you, the more I write, the more I want to write, and the more I have to say. Ideas are coming to me, and I even have gotten to I have to get up in the middle of the night and write something down, because if I don't, it'll be gone by morning. But yeah, I think once I start, I've always written, even in high school, I wrote, for myself, I wrote in, when I first joined the military, I did a couple of newspaper articles for the base. But I really, even though I enjoyed writing, I always thought it was something for me. But to take the plunge and just do it, I was like, I'm going to do it. And I have just been enjoying it. I am enjoying it. I'm hoping that the readers will get as much out of it as I got out of it,
Putting
with
it
writing
together.
it.
Yeah.
That is really the goal for me. But yeah, I really enjoy it. And I have like a whole list of projects I could work on.
Now, as far as your poetry book is shrouded in words, what audience do you think it's mainly for?
It's really hard to say. At first, I thought it was a wide range, but I don't think it's really for high school kids or junior high kids. I mean, I think they might enjoy it, but I think some of the themes are pretty adult, and I think you have to be a bit mature to maybe understand it. So I would guess, the adults, but I don't know if it's more women or men will relate to it. I hope, that there'll be a wide range, because I think we all have those things. We all have parents, we all suffer loss, we all have issues with self-reflection and, depression. And so, but I really feel like maybe the adult woman, 30 to 50, or maybe older, but I would hope that men could also read it and get something out of it. But it's definitely, I think, not for kids because I think they might enjoy reading it, but like I said, I think some of the healing might be a little bit much, but you never know. So yeah, I don't really have a specific audience other than adults. So I hope adults across the board will read it, pick it up, and enjoy it. And I like to think that they'll connect. And even if they connect with one poem in the book, I think that's good, but hopefully they'll connect with a lot more than that.
Good. So we're ready to take our second break. We're going to hear some more from our sponsors, and we will be back in just a few minutes. Thank you.
Immerse yourself in the world of audiobooks with Top 10 Reasons Authors Should Create Audiobooks. This guide unlocks key advantages, from expanding your audience reach to ensuring accessibility for all. Dive into multitasking convenience, forge emotional connections, and break language barriers for global appeal. Narrate your own audiobook for a personal touch, explore genre adaptability, and tap into the profitable market. Stay ahead with technological trends and use audiobooks as powerful marketing tools, opening doors to interviews, podcasts, and exposure opportunities. Elevate your authorial journey with the Sonic Revolution. Get your guide to audiobook success now. Available in print, ebook, or audiobook.
Join Texas Creatives on June 1, 2024 in Seguin, Texas for the 3rd Lone Star Festival. It's free to the public and a lot of fun for all types of families. Learn more about the event and who is attending and performing at LoneStarFestival.fun.
Texas Authors Institute of History is not only a nonprofit museum for Texas authors, TAIH is also a place where authors can learn about publishing and book marketing. Check out our new magazine, the Texas Authors Magazine, available for free at texasauthors.institute today.
Thank you for watching the Texas Authors Institute of History show with your hostess, Denise Bryson.
Welcome back to our radio show. We are here with the author. She has been amazing to talk to, I'm telling you. And her name is Patricia Qaiyyim. And she is the author of Military Moms and Shrouded in Words, which is her poetry book. So I want to ask you this, Patricia. I want to ask you about, because I read about you being very successful on social media. So what do you think what contributed to that success?
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear someone else say that, because it is, you do wonder about it, but really consistency. I will tell you, I have a degree in marketing, and I'm still, and I've done so really, I think consistency is the thing. Also, I have a brand, I have a color, and I really try and stick with that. Like almost every single post is going to have my website on it. It's going to, in some way, especially on my author's page, I try and reflect on my book or events that I'm doing, but I really try and just positively brand myself at every opportunity. I also try and do across the platforms. But I think that the real key, I think, is consistency. Like it takes a lot of time and effort to stay off on things. But I think especially as an author, like I'm not a hairstylist or a real estate agent where I have clients looking, once you buy my book, until the next one comes along, you're going to be looking at the next author. So really just trying to stay in touch with the readers and trying to stay consistent with your brand is really what I think are the keys to success.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And so what are your next events coming up and things like that? Tell us where we can find you.
Okay, well, on actually here in San Antonio next week on Friday, May 17th, I will be at what they call the East Side Block Party. It is it's an inner city program, and they try and encourage and help guide young adults through high school and college. And I am going out to showcase as an author with that. On June 1st, I am going to be at the Lone Star Festival in Seguin. At the end of August, I'm going to be at the Lone Star Writers Roundup in New Braunfels. And so that's really it for the summer. I am also looking forward to maybe doing some book signings, and I am ready to venture out into public speaking. So I'm hoping to be able to find something to do in July and August with that as well.
Oh, that would be amazing. I sure hope that comes in, because I think this is
Thank
this is a
you.
book worth talking about.
That's what I think. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And then it's a speaker at many events. So now where can we find you on like social media and things like that, and your website? Could you give that address and those things?
Absolutely. Yeah. So my website is patriciaqaiyyim.com. My name, PatriciaQaiyyim.com. That'll take you to my website. On my website, you can contact me. You can see what books I have available and how you can get those books. I have an authors page on Facebook as well as Instagram, and I also have a personal Facebook page, and I am on LinkedIn as well, all under Patricia Qaiyyim. Those are my handles throughout. So if you can find my name, you can find me on those social media platforms. And even if you're not looking for a book, I encourage people, if you've read my book, let me know. Check me out on my website and let me know what you thought. Give me a ring. Shoot me an email and let me know. I'm always looking to hear from readers to kind of see how I can improve and kind of meet their needs a little bit better if possible with my work.
That's amazing. And then you're on Amazon as well. I saw you out there on Goodreads. And
yes, my book's available on Amazon, Goodreads, BarnesandNoble.com. And here in San Antonio, a couple of bookstores have autographed copies of my book. Almost any online bookstore, you're going to be able to find my books.
Well, thank you so much for this interview today. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I think you're such a joy to talk to, and you have such good information, and your books are amazing. And so I'm so thankful for that. So thank you, Patricia, for being with us today on our radio show. And I'll tell you what, we always encourage everybody to do is drop everything and read. And we encourage each and every one of you that will hear this interview that you will go out and you will buy and support our authors, because that is what we're trying to do. Because reading expands the mind. That's what I always say.
Yes. You can travel the world if you pick up the right book. That's right.
Yes. So please go out and support our author. We have had the privilege to interview Patricia Qaiyyim, and her books are Military Moms and Shrouded in Poetry. And so look for her. She's got many, many more coming up. Many, many more that's going to be released over the years of her life. So we thank you for her. I thank you, Patricia, so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It has been a joy to talk to you, a fellow poet. So I'm going to really have to check you out, and I'm looking forward to reading your books as well.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Texas Authors Institute TV show, produced by Beyond Bourgeois for the Texas Authors Institute of History, Incorporated, copyright 2024. If you would like to become a sponsor of our show and help us produce great content, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com. If you would like to be on the show as a Texas author, please email us at texasauthors@outlook.com for more information. Music is Frolic of Words, created for Texas Authors Institute by Happy